What you say? What you say?
People moving out, people moving in. Why? Because of the color of their skin. Run, 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 but you sure can't hide. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Both for me, and I'll set you free.
Welcome to the Never-Ending Struggle with Captain Black. I'm Captain Black, your host, and this show is about you, your hopes, your dreams, and your never-ending struggle. But we need your opinion. Call us at 504-260-9265. With me today are the... Hello, New Orleans, and hello, world, via live stream. This is the Never-Ending Struggle with Captain Black. And, of course, I'm your host, Captain Black. We have two segments today. The Justice or Just Us segment, which will be featuring none other than New Orleans Independent Police Monitor, Ms. Susan Hudson. How you doing today?
I'm good, Cap. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And then our ongoing series on No Voice in School Choice, featuring none other than Coach Frank. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me, Captain Black.
Certainly. Ladies first. Tell the public, what exactly does the Independent Police Monitor do?
I guess in a nutshell what we do is we look at how the New Orleans Police Department polices itself. And so we do that in a number of ways. We look at their disciplinary system, which is the complaint system. So if you file a complaint about a police officer, we watch how that's processed. Mm-hmm. Is it properly written up? Is it investigated in a proper manner? If there's a sustained charge against the officer, is he disciplined? And is the discipline appropriate? Then on the other hand, we look at uses of force as well. So we look at how does the department investigate those? Do they do a good job? We don't want any other incident like Danziger, Glover, right, those type of situations going down. So we roll out to all major uses of force in which deadly force is used. So we keep a watch over those and how the NOPD investigates those.
And how long have you had this position?
I've been here since June of 2010.
Okay, and just give the audience some background on you.
Yeah, I'm a lawyer by trade. I was in the city attorney's office in Corpus Christi, Texas, looking at these type of issues. And then I moved to the police monitor's office in Austin, Texas, then to the LAPD's Office of Inspector General, which is a police oversight agency within the LAPD. And then because I have that consent decree experience from LAPD, I came here and took this job because they knew that NOPD was heading that way.
What's the public's response been to you?
It's been a good response. We have information that we want to share with the public, and the public is very much thirsty to have that kind of knowledge. They want to know what's going on with their police department. So they've been, I think, very positive. I think they have been concerned, though, that we're not able to do enough for them.
Let me ask you, what do people usually confuse your role with being? Do they think that you can arrest policemen? Do they think you can investigate them? Or
Right. They think we can do everything. And unfortunately, that's not the way the ordinance was written. We're more to look over and to watch and monitor, but we didn't exactly have investigatory powers. That changed most recently, but in a very small way.
And how was that?
Recent legislation got passed in which the police monitor's office is now supposed to investigate complaints about details. That just happened a couple of weeks ago. We're still not sure how that's going to pan out, but that's a new power that we have, but no new resources to go with that power.
Got you. So in details, those are the off-duty security jobs that police officers have?
Yes, exactly. And, that's been in the paper quite a bit lately.
So in general, would you say that the administration has been supportive of the Independent Police Monitor and your very difficult job?
Yes and no.
All right.
So I would say on the yes side, because to be fair, on the positive side, this is a new office, and when these offices start up, I don't know if you see it in other cities, they receive a tremendous amount of pushback from unions, from police chiefs, from administrations. We didn't get that here. We didn't get that. We were welcomed in. We worked out an agreement with the NOPD. We're sharing information, so that went well. But when it came time to really make this office what it needs to be, which could be a part of this consent decree, that's now in effect. We didn't receive that support. So I would say that yes and no. It's been a mixed bag.
Now, what can the public do? Because I know you've got a lot of supporters out there. So what can we do to try to help make sure that you get the resources you need to do the job that needs to be done?
Stay involved. There was a tremendous outpouring of support for our office at the most recent consent decree meeting to pick the court's monitor. A great deal of the public were there, and they were voicing concerns about paying for this monitor to come in when we're right here and could be doing a lot of that work ourselves.
And that was you just stated what I was about to ask. A lot of people in the reform community and even supporters of policing are asking, why do we need to go out of town when we have a police monitor's office here, when we have somebody with ample experience in investigating how officers comply with their policies and constitutional policing? Why was it such a big rush to reach elsewhere?
Well, I'll say this. In every consent decree city, there's been some type of courts monitor, but it depends on how large that monitor is and how much that they do. So here they're talking about $7+ million for this monitor to do a lot of work, when they could strengthen our office instead, have that monitor be a little smaller and have them look over what we do to make sure that we're not cooking the books. I mean, we're part of the city as well. We're not part of the administration, but we're part of the city. So that could be a better, I think, formula. You spend less. We're talking about, the mayor's talking about the consent decree is going to break the budget. Well, tone that down a little bit. Make that a little less, give us a little more, and we can do more work.
So to make sense of this, what happened at this meeting, and where does the city stand now as far as a federal consent decree monitor for NOPD?
Well, they narrowed it down from several choices to two groups.
Okay.
The Hillard Hines group, which the city wants, it picked as its choice, and the Shepard Mullen group, which the Department of Justice picked. So, and to put it in a nutshell, the Hillard Hines group is made up chiefly of law enforcement officials, so more police chiefs. The DOJ's choice, Shepard Mullen, a lot of lawyers who deal in civil rights, prosecutors, but there's some police chiefs in there as well, but a lot of experts in policing that can help change the policies, the procedure, and hopefully the culture of the NOPD. So,
yeah, what I found interesting with Hilliard Hines was the name principal. He was the former superintendent of Chicago Police, and then his number two person was a former special agent in charge for the Secret Service agency there in Chicago. And, a lot of people kind of look and ask, was there some type of home cooking here, and why particularly would the city want an enforcement heavy, we'll say, monitor as opposed to a lawyer heavy monitor's office that can focus far more on compliance and bring standards up so that we're not running afoul of the Constitution. I mean, and even a lot of my police friends now, they feel like any type of monitor is anti-police, so I might as well throw that in too. That they're not happy. They're going to go along with whatever, but no, they're not very happy about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the city chose Hillard Hines. I'm not sure how that came about. I just know that consent decrees are very complex legal documents, and about whether or not you're complying with them is a legal issue that's going to go before the court. So you do need that legal expertise, and you need those experts in the field to make sure that things are changing and getting better. So I definitely think that there are good sides to both choices. I thought that the Shepard Mullen team was just a little bit stronger. But we'll see what the judge chooses now. They couldn't agree. It now goes before Judge Susie Morgan. She gets to make that decision, and I hope she makes it soon so that we can get down to work. It's time to get moving.
Certainly. Now, what's a typical day like for your office?
Our phones are ringing. We have people walking in to give complaints, so we take complaints every day. We get calls from police officers who are concerned about how they're being treated, and they'll call us and they'll come meet with us. We'll be reviewing files and investigations, looking at officers' histories to see if they could have some problems out there. And then we're a liaison between the community and the police department if they need help. It could be a policing issue.
Okay.
If you're having some trouble getting an officer to respond to something, there are people who will come and tell us that, and we'll get on the phone. If it's an issue about a complaint, we'll get in touch with PIB and say, hey, what's going on with this complaint, and we can monitor that. So we act as a liaison, too, between the community and the NOPD.
And what's the easiest way for people to get in touch with you?
They can give us a call. We're at 681-3223. That's our main line. Our complaint line is 681-3247. You can give us a call at those numbers. We'll be glad to take your complaint. We'll be glad to listen to whatever your issue may be. We're also online. You can reach us if you go online. We're at nolaipm.org. And you can also email us at policemonitor@nolaoig.org. So there's a number of ways you can reach us.
Now, something interesting I've noticed about your office is, like, we first crossed paths at Occupy NOLA. Is that a usual location, public demonstrations and things like that, where you might find a police monitor?
We'll go to hot spots, but we were actually asked to come to that by some of the organizers, and we were glad to act as a liaison between the NOPD and the organizers and those in the group who were working out there. So we were glad to come out. We wanted to watch to see how NOPD treated folks. We didn't see anything at the times that we were there. I saw you there, got a chance to talk to you and folks out there just to see how our people were being treated. And then we took a number of complaints out there as well from people who either had issues during those demonstrations or other issues with the NOPD. So it was a good chance for us to introduce ourselves to folks.
So if you had to tell somebody, because a lot of people in our community, they don't trust the police. They don't believe that their complaints are going to go anywhere. And I know you run into this a lot. What do you tell people? How do you make them confident?
Well, I'll give you an example, because it's funny you say that. We just had something happen this week. A woman is going through the complaint process. She calls me and says, my investigator called me, scared me to death. I want to drop this complaint. I don't want anything else to do with the NOPD. I'm done. Somebody told me I shouldn't have filed this complaint because nothing but bad was going to happen. I said, whoa, hold on. Give us a chance here. What happened? So first of all, we found out what happened. Got in touch with that officer's commander, said, can you check into this and find out what's going on, which they did immediately. We made sure that they backed off so that they didn't scare the complainant anymore. And now we're going to meet with them going forward. We'll be there when they meet with this complainant so that she's not afraid anymore in the process. And we can watch to see how she's being treated and how it's being investigated. So it's good to have our eyes there on it.
And I know people kind of tap dance around this issue, but do you see any increase in this is a majority black city. Do you see any confidence in the majority population's attitude toward the NOPD and its opinion of your office in particular?
Do I see any change?
Yeah, are things improving? Are they staying the same, or do you think they may be even getting worse?
Depends. It depends. There have been a lot of shootings lately in Algiers, and we've had people talking to us about they don't feel safe. And so I think it just depends on where you're at. But as far as crime, I do hear a lot of pessimistic views right now about crime. I know that the figures show that some crime is going down, but how it's affecting individuals, I'm not hearing as much positive messages about that. But I know that the polls show that confidence is going up in the NOPD. And we've heard in different instances that people are stepping forward to give the police more information about shootings of when kids are getting shot or hurt or injured. So it's a mixed bag again. It just depends.
And folks, I just want to remind you that you're listening to The Never Ending Struggle with Captain Black. You can lift every voice and call us at 504-260-9265. And delicately speaking, we'll say, do you anticipate getting the funding and the staffing you need so that you can do your job? Because that's been a concern that I've heard from people across the board, that they really don't feel like you are adequately funded, and in turn, you don't have the people necessary. Like, how big is your staff at the moment?
We have 3 full-time staff members. I'm about to lose one to maternity leave, so we're going to be down to 2 full-time staff members. We're trying to hire a new administrative person, but that hasn't happened yet. So we'll be at full strength at 4. Basically. Okay. That's not enough to look over 1,200 police officers, 20-plus shootings a year, and last year I believe there were 1,200 complaints to look at. So we're supposed to look at every complaint according to our ordinance. You think we can do that with the folks we have? No, we can't do that. We can barely do the make sure we get all the complaints in and roll out to all the shootings. So it's been pretty tough. Are we going to get the resources? I'm going to keep fighting, but I've been fighting for 3 years for that, and really it hasn't happened. So,
what do you think it would take? Whose arm do we need to twist? What type of political pressure needs to be brought to bear?
Well, I think that your elected officials are a good start there. How much money is spent under this consent decree it has to be budgeted. So that's our elected officials do that. That's the mayor, that's the city council. So I'd start there. And then I definitely make sure your voice continues to be heard to this judge. She can also strengthen our office through this consent decree. So stay vocal about that. Keep showing your interest. I was so proud of the public last week coming to that hearing and just letting their voices be heard, both to the city and the DOJ about this process. It's taken too long. It's going too slow. Let's get this moving and let's get this party started, so to speak.
Now, do you think they're really going to listen, or is it just going to go in one ear and out the other? Because we've been hearing the same song for a while now.
New Orleans is a tough city. Okay, I'm going to tell you that.
All right.
But the choice is that we go back to what we've had, and that's not acceptable. Public needs to have a voice. It needs to make sure that our office is strengthened so that we can be transparent. I don't have a dog in the fight. Here's what the facts are going to show, and that's what I want to give to the public. I can't even do that right now. I have a lot of information that I can't get processed and get out to you in a report because I don't have the bodies to do that. I don't have a statistician to handle the stats. If the public wants to succeed, we got to keep fighting. We got to keep fighting for it.
Is there any way that volunteers, perhaps, because I know we have a Loyola Law Clinic here and other groups of, pools of trained people who don't necessarily cost anything?
Yeah, we do. And let me tell you something. We are wearing Loyola and Tulane out. They do give us a number of volunteers. We have a number of volunteers this summer, which is great. They'll all be gone at the end of July, though. So that's going to be a problem. And then we'll have volunteers throughout the school year, but that's a little tougher. So, yeah, we need help. We need volunteers, people who can handle stats, people with law enforcement experience, people who just want to help and give outreach. So right now we're so strapped to handle the work that my community relations director, Ursula Price, can't get out there in the community and talk about us. So we've gotten some volunteers in the community who said they're going to do that for us. We're going to give them some T-shirts and some pamphlets, and they're going to go out there and start talking to the community for us. So we're very excited about that.
And something else I saw is that not only can people contact you online and via the telephone, but they can also fill out complaints at different remote locations.
Yeah, you can. We've been dealing with Women with a Vision. Catholic Charities was working with us for a while. They're not anymore. NAACP has taken some complaints for us. So if you want to reach us, your community group, we also deal with Breakout. That's another community group that we deal with. We'll work with anybody. If your group wants to take complaints for us, we'll come train you. We'll give you the paperwork. We'll give you the information that you need and how to identify officers, how to file a complaint, get that up. You can be a remote location site for us.
Good deal. And give everybody your contact number again.
Let me give that to you again. It's 681-3223 is our main line. And I think I said it wrong, so I'm going to have to correct myself. 681-3217 is our complaint hotline. So please give us a call, and we look forward to helping you out. If you want to email us online, it's Police Monitor altogether at nolaoig.org.
And are there many police monitors officers in the country?
There's probably around 150 different types.
All
so
right.
Sometimes you have police commissions, you have police monitors, you have some type of oversight board. So it varies.
All right, let's go to the phones. Hello, Brother Kwanzaa. Welcome to the Never Ending Struggle with Captain Black.
Good, great program, and I'm really enjoying your guests. I just have a couple of brief questions. Number one, I was at a hearing recently on the retainment of the Inspector General, and he didn't show up. And a lot of the public was there, and they were very irritated about that. And one of the things they brought out was that he had received money, I think like 2 years in a row, and he didn't spend $100,000, then he didn't spend $200,000. So why is he holding back this money? And you have an independent monitor there who needs another staff member. That's the first question I want to get over. And the next one is this. I'm sure this lady, having all that experience behind her, that she's well qualified. So what is the issue here? And like she said, at the public hearing at the Superdome, everyone was speaking out, speaking up. So I think the ball is on his court now, and he's going to act very soon, or he's going to have a serious problem. And that's all I have to say today. I just wish her good luck.
All right. Thank you very much for your call. Ms. Hudson?
Yeah, Mr. Kwanzaa, great questions. Thank you so much for calling in. Always glad to have your support out there in the community and being engaged. So the Inspector General's reappointment hearing, that is run by the Ethics Review Board. And that was the way they chose to do it. It was a little surprising because they took some public comment, but then there wasn't too much discussion at all about what had happened over the previous 4 years. So that was a little something I thought was a little different. I did think it was going to be a full discussion about all the good things that the IG's done, what's to come, and any complaints that folks have as well. So it was interesting. But so that was a different process I really wasn't anticipating, but they run that process. But to answer the question about the funding, originally the Inspector General's office was not at full strength. They got to full strength, and they had been giving back money until they got to full strength because those were all savings from salaries from positions that hadn't been filled. Once he got to full strength, I'm not sure what happened then. Now it's looking like maybe there was some extra funding once he got to full strength. So, but those are all questions that need to be answered at some point during this process. I know budget's coming up again this summer, so I'm sure that will be a hot topic, and folks should be able to follow that at the City Council.
Now, when can we expect to see you come before City Council? Because I know at the last Criminal Justice Committee meeting, various components of NOLA for Life were grilled a little bit and also got to present what they're doing. So when we get to see you up there?
I want to say that they start doing some preliminary budget hearings in June.
Okay.
June, August, something like that. And then the final process is in October and November.
Okay.
So, but keep a watch and definitely get on the council's website for that. And we'll put that information up as well on our website, and we'll tweet it out and put that on our Facebook as well as soon as we have access to that information. But be prepared. That should be coming up in the summer.
And there's no way that your office can make any type of direct funding request to the Inspector General?
Oh, yeah, we've most definitely done that. We've asked for bodies. We've asked for funding for different projects or different, for instance, training or to conduct outreach. We need materials for outreach. So we do make those type of requests to the Inspector General, some which have been accepted and some which have been denied.
Because I think the public may not realize, but didn't you even host like the International Organization for Police Monitors? I'm not quite sure of the name.
Yeah, it's the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement, or NACOLE, NACOLE.org. And we had them here a couple of years ago. We had them here in the fall of 2011. We did host them. People came here because they wanted to see. NOPD is ground central for police oversight here, and of course in New York City right now. Those are very hot topics. So everybody was very excited, and of course New Orleans sells itself. You don't have to twist people's arms to get them to come down here to a convention, but definitely a lot of interest. DOJ was there. The mayor came to some of our events. And the chief, of course, was involved. So it was very, very informative.
Okay. Have you had a lot of pushback since your stop and frisk report?
From who? You mean?
From NOPD, because I know they may not necessarily agree that the field identity card requests and all that is something to be concerned about. And I know there was a lot of discussion in the media. Yeah,
there was definitely. And if you got a chance to see the city council meeting, the chief was definitely not very happy about that report. But we're going to report it the way we see it. Have a lot of experience in this field and definitely with constitutional issues. And we're going to speak out the way we see fit. So we will be following up with that report, but we'll have other reports coming up as well. For instance,
no, go ahead.
But right now we're looking at warrants. We're looking at how does the NOPD ask for warrants? What are they writing when they get warrants? How are they executing them? Is that in accordance with the law? So that'll be probably the next hearing that we go to before the council.
Well, Ms. Hudson, I'd like to thank you in fact, you kicked off our opening segment of Justice or Just Us. And I'd like to thank you for coming. Feel free to stay here because, with Coach Frank coming up, it's going to be fun.
Yes, indeed. I'll do that. Thank you again, Captain.
My pleasure. Coach Frank, you're about to host the latest segment and we've been how long we've been going back and forth with this?
What, about a year now?
Yeah, yes. Since I've met you, literally.
Right.
So let me just ask. Well, first, let me start being official. Happy Father's Day, Coach.
Okay, happy Father's Day.
And I'd like to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers, grandfathers. My grandfather's no longer here, but, he played a great role in my life. And we'd also like to say happy Father's Day to Brother Shaheed Wali Muhammad. He's the founder of our show. And even though he doesn't celebrate Father's Day, we wish them happy Father's Day anyway.
Right. And I would like to say a special Father's Day to my mentor, Carl Gammons.
Of course.
You know, let's give him a happy Father's Day and some of the other people that's doing a great job for the likes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You know, and if you don't mind, can we dedicate a song to the fathers?
Well, you know, I think we can do that.
Okay, well, let's do that. Then we'll come back and we'll talk.
Well, certainly, Frank.
Thank you.
There's a man at my house, he's so big and strong. He goes to work each day and he stays all day long. He comes home each night looking tired and beat. He sits down at the dinner table and has a bite to eat. Never a frown, always a smile. When he says to me, how's my child? I say that I've been studying hard all day in school, trying very hard to understand the golden rule. I think I'll color this man father. I think I'll color him love. Said I'm gonna color him father. I think I'll color the man love. Yes, I will. He says education is the thing if you want to compete, because without it, son, life ain't very sweet. I love this man and I don't know why, except I'll need his strength until the day that I die. My mother loves him and I can tell by the way she looks at him when he holds my little sister Nell. I heard her say just the other day that if it hadn't have been for him, she couldn't have found her way. I think I'll color him father. I'm gonna color him love. I've got to color him father. I think I'll color this man love. Our real old man, he got killed in the war. And she knows she and 7 kids couldn't have gotten very far. She said she thought that she could never love again. And then there he stood with that big wide grin. He married my mother and he took us in. And now we belong to the man with that big wide grin. I've got to color this man father. I'm gonna color him love. I've got to color him father. I believe I'll color this man love. He's just been so good to me.
Welcome back to the Never-Ending Struggle with Captain Black. We are at the second half of our show with Coach Frank, and this particular segment is called No Voice in School Choice. Now, Frank, you're an advocate for education, correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right, I want you to respond to something. It's by a man you may or may not know, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In 1959, he was questioned about the value of Brown versus the Board of Education, which is, of course, a historic Supreme Court decision integrating public schools. He said, and I quote, "I favor integration on buses and in all areas of public accommodation and travel. I am for equality. However, I think integration in our public schools is different. In that setting, you are dealing with one of the most important assets of the individual, the mind. White people view black people as inferior. A large percentage of them have a very low opinion of our race. People with such a low view of the black race cannot be given free rein and put in charge of the intellectual care and development of our boys and girls." Now, I'd like you to comment on that. And remember, folks, this was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., one of the strongest advocates for integration that we know. This wasn't some so-called radical or hater. Mm-hmm. Let's make that clear. Coach Frank.
So I'm going to start off by saying many people, especially ignorant people, want to punish you for speaking the truth, for being correct, for being you. Never apologize for being correct or for being years ahead of your time. If you are right and you know it, speak your mind. Speak your mind even if you are a minority of one. The truth is still the truth. There's a lot of truth in that quote, Captain Black. Mm-hmm. Now, John White is the Louisiana State Superintendent of Education. I told him in August 2011 that cheating on the LEAP test had taken place at a school where I was working at. And he told me that he was not going to investigate. TFAs, he told me, telling about cheating on the test, he told me that he was not going to investigate. TFAs, not all of them, but some of them, are not teaching our kids. They are cheating our kids. As far as white is concerned, we are inferior, and we have to cheat in order to pass.
Now, when you said TFAs, those are the Teach for America.
Teach for America,
exactly. Much about? All right.
Exactly.
Go on, please.
And like I said, as far as white is concerned, we are inferior, just like Dr. King was saying. That's the mindset of us, and we have to cheat our kids. I said to white and the blacks that think like him, teach our kids, don't cheat them. Leslie Jacobs, another person, is the founder of this Real Sorry District that is robbing students daily, was on the radio Tuesday evening lying about how great the LEAP scores are. Remember, I told you they was cheating, and how great the Recovery School District is doing. Senator Mary Landrieu, whose 21-year-old son Frank has not learned that he should not drive drunk since she went to Chicago. She went to Chicago after Hurricane Katrina and said that New Orleans will become a school district of all charters. She may have been drinking when she made that comment. And I don't think any of her children or grandchildren are going to RSD.
As a matter of fact, we have none other than Carl Gelman on the line.
We're going to stop and take that one.
Captain Black, how you doing today? And also
quite well.
Coach Frank.
Good to hear from you, Carl.
Happy Father's Day.
Same to you.
Let me say this. I tried to get in when Lester Jacob was on radio.
Mm-hmm.
95% of the things that she said was a blatant lie.
Mm-hmm.
The people who was the founder of this recovery school district was Lester Jacob and former Governor Mike Foster. And you go down to St. Mary's Parish in Louisiana, and the history of the Foster family, although he became governor, had always had an association with the Ku Klux Klan down in St. Mary's Parish. But let me say this, you got to be super stupid to think white people are concerned about educating African-American students. If you go back and trace Louisiana when it was a territory, that was a black code called a Code Y. There was 30 lashes across your back with a bullwhip if you got caught trying to learn how to read and write. It's when it was a territory. Louisiana became a state in 1812 under William C.C. Claiborne. He also incorporated in his black code, when he became a state, that it was illegal to teach slaves how to read and write. And that was a very serious punishment. Then when physical slavery ended in 1865, they adopted a third black code. Folks like Cabdo and Lutcher said that former slaves only needed enough education to serve white people.
Hold on, Carl. You said Lusher and who?
Cabdo.
So Lusher is that school that's in the building that has Fauché name on it.
Right.
And Cabdo is in that school building that has Thurgood Marshall name written on it.
Thurgood Marshall.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought those names sounded familiar.
Okay,
Please
go ahead.
continue.
Go ahead, Carl.
And the thing about it is, the day you take a look at the Bessie Board and Paul White,
John.
The only reason they are involved in this education thing is economic dollars. It's big money in education.
Mm-hmm.
And blacks, some of the blacks are stupid enough to think they're concerned about educating their child. Nobody gonna save us but us for us. And it's high time we learn that.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna take up all your time, so have a great day.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Carl. And I'm going to continue. Sarah Houston, who was with New Schools for New Orleans, the charter operator of Benjamin E. Mays, and now sits on Orleans Parish School Board, does not care about what is happening to the minds of the parents and the student of Benjamin E. Mays School. The school is closed because McDonald, another slave owner, number 42.
Would this be John McDonald?
Yeah.
McDonough?
Right, so you got John McDonald, then he got all these different names. McDonald 35, McDonald 19, McDonald 42.
And as a newcomer,
32.
when I saw that, I was like, well, wow, one man, but 20 schools?
Right,
I mean,
right.
All right, go
okay,
ahead,
so
please.
so there's a group that's in that building, McDonald 42 right now, and they're about to start doing some renovation. So they need to take the kids out and send them somewhere else. So they're just disrupting the Mays family and sending those kids to all different schools next year when those parents and students wanted to stay together.
I'm curious, has anybody factored in how particularly special high schools are in historically black communities? I mean, it's not just a place that you went to. It's usually part of your family history. It's part of your identity.
Right. But right now, like we saying, and like Dr. King said in the quote, they think of us as inferior. So whatever they need to do, they need space. So they're going to just kick those kids out of Benjamin E. Mays and move McDonald 42 in there while they renovate their building.
All right, let me take another call. Ms. Cross, welcome to the Never Ending Struggle with Captain Black.
Yes, I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Thank you.
Wonderful segment. I definitely had to call on that, on this topic, because definitely I have 4 children that here on this West Bank side, and because of all the interruptions and the violations and things that they have done to especially my oldest children, I have chose to take my children out of the schools. And due to my research on everything and trying to get ready for homeschool, I discovered that really and truly the only thing that these individuals are held accountable for, and the only thing they can report to the state, is the attendance. By law, they're held by the attendance. And if they sit up there and label your children as behavior children and all those type of things, then your children does not have to get education, because they can sit back and say, well, no, it's your child, and they did X, Y, and Z on this day. So it's almost like your child is sitting in a mini a prison system, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, Ms. Cross, let me ask you a quick question. Do you feel that you have a voice as a parent in school choice?
Not at all. If anything, I'm almost like a villain to them. And what I mean is, some of the things that they did in front of my face to my children, it really scared me. And I'm like, and when I speak up and go to the top with a lot of complaints, it's almost like, oh, well, no, they always have a lie on top of a lie on top of a lie. I've went as far as one of the complaints to the Louisiana Department of Education concerning safety in the schools. And just like Coach Frank had said, some of these people choose not to even investigate those type of things.
Wow.
So that is like very concerned of mine. So you mean my child's supposed to be in a place where you don't even want to investigate my complaint, and I have evidence showing that there's no safety. So, no, not at all.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Cross.
Okay, so Captain Black, I'm going to go on and say I agree with Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote. And I'm
not surprised, by the way.
I don't think he would be in favor of charter schools. Not
at current. I want everybody to give us a call at 504-260-9265 and say what you need to say. Let's hear from Pastor.
I come here tonight and plead with you.
Followed by Marvin.
Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. As I said to the group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennysonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. There's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
I just want to ask a question. Who really cares? To save a world in despair? Who really cares? There'll come a time when the world won't be singing,
when the world won't be singing,
flowers won't grow,
flowers won't grow, no,
bells won't be ringing,
no bells won't be ringing.
Who really cares?
Who really cares?
Who's willing to try?
Who is willing to try
to save a world?
To save a world
that's destined to
that
die.
is destined to die.
When I look at the world,
when I look at the world,
it fills me with sorrow.
It fills me with sorrow.
Little children today, really gonna suffer tomorrow.
Really suffer tomorrow. Oh,
what a shame.
What a shame.
Such a bad way to live.
Such a bad way to live.
Who is to blame?
Who is to blame?
We can't stop
when
living.
We can't stop living. Oh, oh.
Live.
Live. Live for life. But let's live, everybody.
Live life for the children.
Live life for the children. Oh, for the children.
See, let's save the children. Let's save all the children.
Save the babies. Save the babies. And if you wanna love, you got love. Save the babies.
Welcome back to the Never Ending Struggle with Captain Black. We are wrapping things up with our second segment, No Voice in School Choice, with Coach Frank.
Now, I would like to piggyback on what Marvin talking about saving the children. And like Martin said, we got to do it ourselves. As I look around the city of New Orleans, it fills me with sorrow.
And you're a native New Orleanian, aren't you?
I'm born and raised here.
All right.
Graduated from John McDonald, went to McDonald 28, went to McDonald 31, went to Phyllis Weekly, graduated from SUNO, taught at Andrew J. Bell. I'm from here.
All right.
So they know this is where I come from. And when I'm looking at what I'm seeing now, in 7 to 8 years of this recovery school district, I'm not happy. And I try to tell people I don't have any kids in the system. I have a job in Jefferson Parish, so it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the children. And if we don't start stepping up, we had a telephone call from Carl Gammons. Do we have any Carl Gammons that are 16 and 17 years old?
I'm sure.
We don't see them. We're not bringing them up. I don't see any Jerome Smiths.
Mm-hmm.
It's like somewhere along the line, we are losing our leaders and we're not developing others.
Nope, sadly, it seems, and I'm very uncompromising on this issue. It seems like we're more concerned with developing zombies and chocolate Klansmen and the person who can twerk the best and everything else under the sun.
Right.
But decent people with skills who can help improve our community.
It seems as though we as a people are beginning to lose our pride, our dignity, and our respect. I look at videos and movies like The Great Debater for things that were done way back, and you look how those kids dressed, and you look how those teachers dressed, and you look how we carried ourselves during the civil rights movement. We was a proud people with less. And I look at what I'm looking at today, and it fills me with sorrow. It's like we ignorant, and we don't, and it's like it's okay to be ignorant, but it's bad to stay that way.
But see, that's my whole emphasis, as you know, changing the culture. Because for me, it's not about what other people do to us, it's what we accept. Like Brother Al Mims, a local anti-crime activist, says, it's usism. It's what we're doing to ourselves and what we allow to be done to us that has always been my concern, because I can't control what somebody does at the Klan coven across town. But I can control myself, my behavior, and the quality of my relationships with people around me.
Okay, now can I make a couple of announcements?
You certainly may.
Okay, so for people that's feeling like Marvin and you want to save the children, there's a couple things that's going to be going on in the upcoming week. On Monday, June 17, 2013, there will be a press service from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. at 6038 St. Charles Avenue. Again, Monday, June 17, there will be a press service from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. at 6038 St. Charles Avenue. The purpose of this press service is to let Leslie Jacobs know that it's time to let our people go. Jacobs and her friends have made enough money off not educating our children. It is time for Orleans Parish School Board to start operating some of these failed RSD schools.
So in other words, you're going to be like Moses?
I'm just going to be frank, a lot of people are talking. I'm on Facebook, and I'm looking at all these activists on Facebook.
Okay.
I listen to the radio, and I'm listening to all these activists on the radio, but I don't see nobody in the street. It's one thing to talk, but ain't nobody walking the walk.
Well, Frank, I'm kind of resigned to certain negatives in the community, so that's why I work with people like you and Brother Shaheed, because, y'all still have hope. Right. Or Susan Hudson. I mean, here she is fighting an uphill battle against an administration that on paper is supposed to support her, but she doesn't get the support.
Right.
And again, that was me saying that, not her.
Not her,
but that's how the community feels.
Right. And
so as long as y'all have hope, I guess I'll hang in there a little, because, personally, I feel like, we become a scene from a bad zombie movie.
Right. And then again on Tuesday, June 18th, the following day, 2013 Orleans Parish School Board meeting at McDonald number 35 beginning at 6 p.m. Parents of McMain and McDonald 35 and others will be there to discuss the unhappiness with this one app. The community may be asking Nolan Marshall to resign, to step off the board, because we're not liking the things that he's doing and how he's carrying himself.
And Nolan Marshall's a member of?
He's a member of the Orleans Parish School Board. And we're going to ask him to step down, and if he don't step down, we're going to start working on recalling him.
Okay.
No. And if we have to recall him, we're going to boycott his business. It's time to stop playing with these people that are not educating our kids and setting our kids up for failure.
Now, what happens when somebody in the community says, but Frank, you're black, he's black? Isn't that divisive? Isn't that anti-unity?
I am an African American.
Time I looked, yes, you are.
Right, and I look at Nolan Marshall as being what I call a chocolate-covered, racist white person. I watch.
Despite his also being an American black person.
Right. He's not down for the people. As a matter of fact, when he was running for the Orleans Parish School Board, guess who endorsed him?
Who endorsed him?
Mayor Landrieu.
You mean the?
Yeah, your mayor. He
my
endorsed.
mayor.
Right. He endorsed Nolan Marshall.
Okay.
So what does that tell you? He endorsed Sarah Houston. So what does that tell you? He endorsed Copper. Okay, and we have to wake up and pay attention and start calling these people out, because we can't even get to the racist white folks because the African Americans are gatekeeping.
But again, that's back to that personal responsibility piece I'm so heavy on. This can't happen in a majority black city, in a majority black school system, without the willing compliance of some of us.
Right.
So, like Brother Al Mims would say, usism is factored into it.
Right.
Now, have you reached out to Nolan Marshall? You know, what's his response been to
Nolan
you?
Marshall and I have talked.
All right.
You know, let me tell you about a Bessie Board meeting I went to.
Certainly.
And had a parent was talking about how unhappy they was with Benjamin E. Mays being closed down. And Nolan said that he was going to work with them. He was going to stop that from happening. And this parent also discussed her displeasure with Sarah Houston, who was the charter operator of that school and didn't care nothing about those kids. So Nolan Marshall asked that parent to wait until the meeting was over. And when the meeting was over, Nolan Marshall went up to that parent and wanted to know why she blasted Sarah Houston the way she did. He told that parent, you don't know her. You need to get to know her. Come on, Nolan.
And you interpreted that as meaning?
Gatekeeper for the white person.
In the 21st century?
Why Sarah Houston couldn't go ask that parent? Why Nolan Marshall felt the need that he has to do that? Okay, I see you have another call. Can we take that other call from Pastor?
No.
Okay.
But we got another call coming up? Yes, we do. From Pastor.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I don't think any of us can be satisfied in the United States.
Welcome back, folks. You heard it from Pastor. Any closing comments, Coach Frank?
Thank God for Pastor.
Well, folks, we can either decide that we're going to be American citizens regardless of who doesn't like it or who mistreats us. We really have no other choice. And as the show's founder, Shaheed Wali Muhammad, is always fond of saying, you know, it's either all of us or none of us. And his advice about other people is don't dislike them, get like them. This is Captain Black, your host of the Never Ending Struggle.
Oppression is worse than the grave. Better to die for noble cause than to live and die outside.
This has been the Never Ending Struggle. I'd like to thank our executive producer, Shahid Wali Muhammad, and I hope that you enjoyed our show. I leave you in peace, love, and happiness.